Hey folks, it's time for me to make some morning coffee here. I wanted to show you something I do now. I've got this Breville grinder and I use these little Easy Pod things. It's got a little spring in the bottom that pushes up on the paper. Here's the little paper thing, and what this does is make a K-cup for you that you don't have to pay for. The names of these little pods right here, I've got a couple of them, are called Easy Cup filters, and or Easy Pod, Perfect Pod, Easy Cup. That's what it is, Perfect Pod, Easy Cup. But anyway, it's something that keeps these things clean. You never have to wash them out because the coffee grounds, wet coffee grounds, never touch this thing because the paper completely encloses. You take this little flap and it goes over the top and it goes down in there after you fill it full of coffee. Now the problem is, how do you get it full of coffee? What I used to do was I used to just kind of hold the paper under the thing right here, and I'd hold it up tight against to the here, and it never would put enough coffee in it. I needed more coffee, and I was using a drip grind so that it would stay kind of coarse. And I finally decided I needed stronger coffee with the same amount of grinds, and that meant I needed to go down to the espresso grind. And once I started using the espresso grind, when I was holding up here, it would kind of try to get more in there than it could hold, and it would back up inside the grinder and it would clog it all up, and it was really causing a problem. So I thought, what can I do about this? I used to have a Keurig Keurig 2.0 version, which allowed you to use K carafes. And this was one of the K carafes. I've actually cut off the bottom. It used to be about that long. And this K carafe cup right here, I've repurposed to do something different with this. And so what I do is I take the paper and I put it inside the K carafe thing right here. And then I've got this thing, and normally I would have held it up against there to grind it, but that's what clogged up the grinder and so forth. But what I do with this now is I built this little thing out in the shop. I just went out there one morning and spent about an hour building this thing. This is two pieces of plywood. The first piece of plywood, you can see the edge of it right here, is where I cut this large hole that this K-cup fits into. And you can see the pattern of it. That's a 3/16 plywood, and so that fits into there like that. And then the other piece of plywood, I drilled an inch and 5/8 hole, and then continued drilling so that it would match the angle of here. So I drilled several different holes, each one a little bit larger, till I got to the very top of it. And then I took a file, a round file, rasp or whatever, and kind of smoothed down the sides. And then I took this whole piece of plywood right here and I glued it onto the funnel here. This funnel I cut off to the right height so it would fit this bottom hole. And so now the funnel sits on top of the of this thing, and so all the grounds go below there, but there'll be more grounds at the top of the funnel. It's kind of mounded up, and I need to tap it down. So this thing allows me to kind of tap it down like that. And anyway, once I put this, let me demonstrate it for you. Once I put the paper in here, this goes right on top, and you can see how I've made the hole fit this thing right here. So I put this on there, and now that thing is on there pretty tight. I mean, it's tight enough to where I can shake it up and down and it's not going to move. And it's short enough now to where I can slide it up under the grinder right here. Now let me move the camera a little bit so you can see this as I'm grinding. So now I'm going to turn on the grinder. It's going to grind for 8.2 seconds for this little K-cup. And it's on an espresso grind, and you can see the grounds dropping down in that funnel. And you can see it going up to the side of the funnel. So this was always a problem, trying to figure out how to get those grounds in that little K-cup. I used to use, a scoop like this, and that was a mess. It'd make grounds all over the counter. I used to use a little scoop like this that you can put this thing down on it and turn it upside down and tap it. But that always used to knock it over and everything, so that wasn't good. So now this, you can see the grounds in there and they're real loose, but it's fine coffee. So I just tap it down like this. I'm holding the little wooden thing that I did, and I keep tapping it until all the grounds are off the funnel, and then I can take this off. So that comes right off. I set that down like that, and there is the filter, and I need to transfer that filter over to the purple Easy Cup. And I just pick it up and move it over there, and you can see how it lifts up a little bit. That's because that spring is holding it up. It won't fit down tight until you take the top, put on there, get everything centered up, the flap, the top, and everything, and then you just kind of press it down in there, and that's your K-Cup right there. And notice the paper's on top. Not going to get dirty at all. When I use that, I go put it in the coffee maker, and it makes great, nice, strong cup of coffee. Is as good as any of these this French roast type cups make, maybe even better, the way I like it. And I just throw that back in there, and that's how I do it. Talk to y'all later.